Millions of people around the world have a strange fascination with serial killers. Whether it's why they committed these horrific and gruesome acts, or how some of them managed to go so long without being caught. Today, I'm going to tell you about some of the most horrific, notorious serial killers in history. And I'm going to start with one known as Dr. Death. One of history's deadliest serial killers was a married family man who managed to squeeze in 218 credited murders while working as a popular British physician. Harold Shipman began his murderous spree in 1972, and it's believed he killed at least 71 patients while working at his first practice, and double that number at a second practice he joined after butting heads with colleagues who found him arrogant, brusque, and overconfident. Finally, in 1998, both a local undertaker and another doctor noticed the unusually high number of cremation certificates Shipman had signed off on. They also noticed striking similarities in the recently deceased patients themselves. The majority were elderly women who were found sitting up and fully clothed, not in bed as would usually be the case with the gravely ill. Despite these clues, this initial investigation was shoddily handled, allowing Shipman to kill 3 more times. Shipman's luck ran out later that year, when the daughter of his final victim, lawyer Kathleen Grundy, claimed he'd not only killed her mother, but had also tried to create a new, fake will, naming him as her sole beneficiary. Unlike his earlier victims, Grundy had not been cremated, and an autopsy revealed lethally high levels of diamorphine, the drug Shipman used for most of the killings. He was formally charged with 15 murders and was convicted and sentenced to life without parole in 2000. Shipman died in 2004 after committing suicide in his cell. He never admitted to any of the killings. Number 2. Belle Gunness. The woman who became known as the Lady Bluebeard immigrated to America from Norway in 1881, settling in Chicago where she married a fellow Norwegian immigrant. The couple had 4 children, 2 of whom died young, and ran a candy store. By 1900, the store had mysteriously burned down, and Gunness's husband was dead. Although both happened under suspicious circumstances, Gunness was able to collect multiple insurance policy payments, allowing her to purchase a farm in LaPorte, Indiana. She quickly remarried, and just 8 months later, her second husband died. Gunness claimed that he'd received a fatal burn from scalding water and had been hit on the head by a heavy meat grinder. While an inquest was held, no proof of foul play could be produced, leading to another hefty insurance payout. She then began placing newspaper advertisements in search of a third husband, with the requirement that potential suitors had to visit her Indiana farm. Several prospective suitors made the trek, only to disappear forever. Just one made it out alive, after reportedly waking up to see a sinister-looking Gunness standing over him. Nobody knows for certain just how many people Belle Gunness murdered, but it seems she herself met a grisly end. In February 1908, a fire devastated the farm. Amongst the wreckage were the bodies of Gunness's remaining children and the decapitated corpse of a woman. Although officials identified the remains as Gunness, doubt quickly spread, as the body was much smaller than the tall, heavy-set Belle. The search for her missing head, which never turned up, led to the gruesome discovery of almost a dozen bodies, including the missing suitors and several children. Ray Lampier, a former farmhand that she had fired a few years earlier and later claimed was threatening her life, was arrested and tried for the crimes, but was only convicted of arson. Belle's true fate remains unknown. Number 3. Ed Gein. The man whose macabre and horrific acts helped inspire Psycho, Silence of the Lambs, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre grew up in an isolated area of Wisconsin. He was an abused child of an alcoholic father and a puritanical and domineering mother who instilled in her son a pathological fear of both women and sex. When his father, brother, and mother died within a 5-year period, he was left alone at the family farm, where he eventually cordoned off parts of the house, turning it into a shrine of sorts. to his mother. 13 years later, local police arrived at the farm, following up on a tip regarding missing hardware store owner Bernice Warden. They discovered Warden's headless corpse hanging upside down from the rafters. Their search of the property revealed a hall of horrors that included human body parts turned into household items such as chairs and bowls, faces used as wall hangings, and a vest made up of a human torso. Many of these gruesome items were from already dead bodies that Gain had stolen from their graves. But he had murdered one other woman in addition to Warden. He claimed that he was using the body parts to assemble a new version of his beloved mother. Gain was diagnosed with schizophrenia and declared unfit for trial. A decade later, he was convicted of one of the murders, but was declared insane at the time of the crime. He spent the rest of his life in a mental hospital. Number 4. John Wayne Gacy. To most of his suburban Chicago neighbors, John Wayne Gacy was a friendly man who threw popular block parties, volunteered in local Democratic politics, and often performed as a clown at local children's parties. But Gacy, who had already served a stint in prison for sexually assaulting a teenage boy, was hiding a horrific secret right beneath his neighbors' unseeing eyes. In 1978, when a 15-year-old boy who had last been seen with Gacy, whose construction business the teenager was hoping to work for, went missing, police obtained a search warrant for Gacy's house. There they found a class ring and clothing belonging to several young men, previously reported missing. In a 4-foot crawl space beneath the house, where a penetrating odor was present, they were shocked to find the decomposing bodies of 29 boys and teenagers that Gacy had raped and murdered. Gacy's ex-wife had complained about the odor for years, but Gacy had chalked it up to moisture causing mildew. Law enforcement also came under criticism, as the family members of several of the victims had previously pointed to Gacy as a possible suspect. In addition to the bodies found at his house, Gacy admitted to killing several additional men, disposing of their bodies in a nearby lake. His attempts at presenting an insanity defense failed, and he was convicted on 33 counts of murder and executed by lethal injection in 1994. That will be all that I tell you today, but I will be back very soon with another, probably a part 2 to this. So, yeah. I hope you guys enjoy, and let me know what you think in the comments down below. And thank you so much for being here. I will see you all next time.